What is going on? And welcome back to iCoach Nutrition Radio. Guys, super excited to dive into today's podcast episode. It's going to be all about how to improve your digestion. All right. And I'm not going to come at you with any crazy hacks or crazy supplements or anything like that. I'm going to hit you with a very, very simplistic approach, which is this. One of the best ways to improve your digestion is to, ready, drum roll, please. Eat more vegetables and fruits, right? Consume more fiber in your diet, right? Improve the overall quality of your nutrition. Get you to actually start eating, foods that you're actually cooking, right? Cooking the majority of your own foods versus eating out fast food, restaurant food, gas station food all of the time, right? There is magic that happens when we start to improve the overall quality of our diet, when we start to get more micronutrients into our diet, right? More vitamins and minerals into our diet, right? It starts to improve our digestion. I see this all of the time. I see this with so many clients that come to me. I've seen it as bad as clients that come to me that maybe are experiencing a bowel movement only once every few days, right? And then all of a sudden, they start consuming more vegetables and fruits into their diet. And now all of a sudden, their digestion starts improving significantly, right? To the point where they're actually having a much more regular GI, right? A much more regular functioning GI system, and that they're actually having a bowel movement, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 times a day, right? And their stools are actually what they should be, right? They're not getting constipated and bloated and all of this, right? They're having a good consistency in their stool. And for some of you, that might be a little bit, TMI, but the reality of it is that your gut microbiome, your digestive health is one of the best indicators to your overall health, right? And if you have really poor digestion, you're probably not going to feel your best or look your best or perform your best. And so digestion plays a huge role. The GI system is it plays a huge role in your immunity there as well, and being able to not get sick, right? And so if you think about our GI, our gastrointestinal tract, if you think about the gut microbiome, it is an extremely complicated subject. And there is a lot of different nuances, and you can go super in depth. You can really nerd out with this a lot. I would actually encourage you to check out the podcast that I did with Dr. Gabriela Fandero. And we talked we actually did 2 separate podcasts where we talked a lot about the gut microbiome. And there's a lot of, like anything in this industry, there's a lot of BS that's out there, right? There's a lot of, quote unquote experts that are sitting here putting out just misinformation. And so if you're looking for, a podcast to dive into to really start learning more about all of this, definitely check out those 2 episodes that I did with her. Definitely follow her. And she does, a lot of her work on the gut microbiome specifically. And so you can really, nerd out if that's something that you want to do. But some of the biggest takeaways that, we chatted about, and that, in terms of taking all of this information, taking all of this research, taking all of this really complicated information and simplifying it to you and to your life, and to allow you to get more consistent, right? And ultimately just be able to make some lifestyle improvements here, is that there's a few different things, but one of the biggest ones is consuming more vegetables and fruits into the diet. The other one that we talked about a lot is actually making sure that you are chewing your food, right? So many of us are in a hurry, right? I'm guilty of it too, but we're over here just scarfing down food, scarfing down meals, going from one thing to the next thing. And the reality of it is, especially when it comes to protein, especially when it comes to fiber, we really need to make sure, really all of our food, but especially those 2, we really need to make sure that we're working hard to chew all of our food, right? Depending upon who you hear it from, you should actually chew up your every single bite of food that you take about 30 times before you swallow it, which is just mind-blowing if you've ever actually tried to do that before. It seems a little ridiculous and something that's not actually realistic and sustainable long-term. But the point of it is to actually start chewing your food, right? And making it a priority to not take big bites without chewing much of your food and just swallowing, and being able to actually break down the food, right? The process of digestion and absorption and metabolism of these nutrients, the process of digestion starts in your mouth, right? And you have to be able to actually chew your food in order for your food to be able to go through that full digestion process there in the mouth before it starts to go through the rest of the GI tract there. So that is a big piece. Make sure you're actually chewing your food and chewing your food completely. The other thing is, going back to the vegetable and fruit intake, we've got to make sure that we're not ramping this up too much too fast, because this can actually cause more digestive issues, right? So what I would challenge you with is you need to assess and see, how many vegetables and fruits am I actually consuming on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, right? In each one of my meals, right? And I think a great first step for so many people is just simply make sure that you don't blink. Right? Try to make sure that at the majority of the meals that you eat, get color into your meal, right? Regardless of how much color you're getting, just start with not blinking. Make sure that you're getting in at least some, okay? If you don't have any digestion issues with being able to incorporate some color into each meal, and you're getting that into most of your meals each day, that alone is going to start to improve the overall quality of your food. You're going to get more quality, right? More micronutrients, more vitamins and minerals into your diet. You're going to increase your fiber intake, which is going to help you, to feel more satiated in between meals. And so that way you're not having as many cravings for junk food and different, processed refined carbohydrates. And then from there, you can slowly start to increase. So just not blinking now goes to, hey, fill up a quarter of your plate with color, vegetables or fruits or a combination of both. Then from there, go to a third of the plate. Then from there, go to the ultimate goal of a half of your plate, right? And that's kind of the iCoach plate representation, is trying to fill up half of your plate at every major meal with vegetables or fruits or a combination of both. If you do that, that gets you pretty close to hitting the 800-gram challenge, which is a challenge that one of my colleagues in the field, E.C. Sinkowski, created, which I absolutely love, which is trying to consume 800 grams in weight of vegetables and fruits each day. And again, what that breakdown really looks like is filling up about a third to half of your plate at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner with vegetables or fruits or a combination of both. And so in a perfect world, right, as we kind of get into a little bit more of these details, in a perfect world, that breakdown would look like filling up about, half of your, or, about 70% of your day with vegetables and about 30% of your day with fruit. And so what most people do, what most clients I work with, I help them to do, is to fill up about a third to half of their plate with fruit at breakfast, because that typically tends to be the easiest to accomplish. And then from there, filling up a third to half of your plate with vegetables at lunch and at dinner, right? Again, though, too much of anything too fast can cause issues, right? No different than like with protein intake. I see it all the time with people that, they're like, how much protein should I be eating per day? You tell them and they're like, oh my God, I'm not even eating half of that, right? Or maybe they don't even assess at all. And they start trying to eat that recommended number. And now all of a sudden they're bloated, right? They're way too full, they're stuffed. They're just not able to do it in the first place. And so they now think it's an unrealistic goal for them, and they're just not ever going to be able to eat enough protein. The list goes on and on and on, but we've got to think, again, with anything, too much of anything too fast, ramping up too much of anything too fast could be a bad thing, right? Water intake. If you ramp up water intake way too fast, you're going to be in the bathroom all day long. If you ramp up protein or fiber way too fast, you're going to be bloated. You're going to be stopped up, right? You're not going to have good digestion. You're not going to have normal bowel movements there on a consistent basis and a high functioning GI system. So with that said, if you want to improve your digestion, okay, step one is going to be slowly but surely start to incorporate more vegetables and fruits into your diet, right? That's going to help you to get more fiber into your diet, phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals, right? Increasing your micronutrients and improving the overall quality of your food and of your diet and of your nutrition, right? Make sure that you're chewing your food completely before swallowing, right? Take time to actually sit down and eat rather than just scarfing down food on the run, right? Also, hydration plays a big role in this. You being able to make sure you're actually hydrated, right? Shooting for the goal of drinking about half of your body weight in fluid ounces of water each day, that can help and aid in digestion. And then protein intake can also help as well. If you're eating too much protein, which is definitely not what I see. Most of the time people are under eating protein, but if you are eating too much protein, right? I see this a lot with men that I work with. They're just protein. It's all they're ever thinking about. And so in all their meals, they're just eating protein, but they're lacking. They're not incorporating vegetables and fruits, or a very minimal amount, right? And so again, they're getting stopped up, they're getting bloated. They're not seeing the results that they want to get there in terms of, their body composition and how they feel, also just with how they perform there. So breaking it down, bringing it back into an overall summary here, we've got to think about a few different things, right? Increase your vegetable and fruit intake slowly but surely. Shoot for that goal of ultimately being able to fill up half of your plate at breakfast with fruit, half of your plate with lunch and dinner with vegetables, right? And whether that takes 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be focusing on this habit for the rest of your life. Focus on increasing your hydration slowly but surely until you get to the place where you're actually drinking close to half of your body weight in fluid ounces of water each day. Make sure that you're chewing your food completely, right, before swallowing. Sit down at most meals if you can, right? Try not to be on a run as much, but just make sure you're actually chewing your food completely, especially with your protein sources and especially with those fibrous vegetables, okay? And really those three would be the biggest ones. And then I guess if I was to add a number 4, it'd be cook the majority of your own food, right? Make sure that you're actually cooking your own food. Make sure we're actually eating whole foods, right? Which are going to be obviously the most nutritious foods in comparison to fast food and restaurant food and gas station food. All right. And so those are really the top 4 tips to help you with improving your digestion. All right. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop the comments there below. If you're watching this on YouTube or on the Facebook group, be sure to do that. Again, if you're not in the iCoach Nutrition Facebook group, it's a private Facebook community. It's honestly just an awesome community of education and support. I have all the clients that I'm currently working with one-on-one in that group, as well as all the clients that I worked with over the last 10 plus years. And so honestly, there's a lot of Facebook groups that are out there that are like group coaching groups that you pay for. I would argue that this is just as good, if not better, than a lot of those paid for groups. And you will get so much value out of this group for free. I have people all the time that come to me. They're like, hey, I've been, marinating in that group for the last 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever. And now I'm ready to work with you one-on-one. I've gotten so much value out of this group, but I know that I need the accountability. I know that I need to work one-on-one and get all of this kind of individualized for me and my lifestyle. And so now I'm ready to commit and to invest in one-on-one coaching. And so would love to invite you into that group. Request to join. Again, it's the iCoach Nutrition family on Facebook. Request to join. I'll add you into that group. And then, yeah, if you're listening to us on the podcast, be sure to comment or send me a DM on Instagram at Coach Justin Murphy if you have any questions. And also running out of, I made a huge list of podcast ideas a few months back, and I've almost completed the whole list. So I'm needing some more ideas. If you have any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast, or any topics that you want me to dive into deeper, please let me know. I'd love some more ideas here. And other than that, until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, see you guys.